Hi, in this video we will look at B1 Dashboard Editor's advanced feature of filtering and hidden data items. So let's go into Business 1 and I've made a small little dashboard with just my demo data of invoices and countries and customer groups on the business partner. Nothing fancy. This has been used in several different places. So filtering is all about taking away some of the data. Most of the time, filtering makes sense to just put some where conditions onto the SQL. But in some cases, you might actually want the data for one piece of your dashboard, while another piece of your dashboard shouldn't get that data. An example for that is in the sales overview dashboard that comes out of the box. There's a pie chart on the item groups and what they've sold. And there's actually a filter on that where it should filter out items that have an amount less than 0, because else you can basically end up with some negative data, and a pie chart cannot show that. So in some cases you want to do filtering, and it's very easy. You can right click and add all the conditions you want with conditions and groups and everything, and or just like you normally know from SQL, this is just a visualized thing. So what you can do is you can go in here and you can choose the different arguments you have. So this is the argument here, and then you can go in and equals that to a specific value. It could be we only want the ones for 2009 for some reason in this area of the dashboard, and we only see 2009. We can go in and use greater than equal and so on. So let's try and say greater than equal than 2009, and we only see 2009 and onward. We can also go in and use one field something to another field that is also in the report. In this case, we only have one field, so it doesn't really make sense to have them. Or we can use the parameters. There's a separate video on parameters, but go in and add a parameter and use the different parameters we have in the system, so we can actually take them away. For parameters with actually taking away data, it's better to put again in the SQL, but it is possible. So that's filtering, and most of the components in dashboards can do that. But the second part of this session was called hidden data items. And that's actually one of the scenarios. So for example, what if I for some reason wanted to have this chart, but I only wanted certain customer groups? Well, if I drag customer groups into the arguments, they begin to be shown in the system. So if I want to do something like that, I need to put them down into hidden data items, meaning it's part of the report that you can use in filtering, but it's not shown on the screen. So I could go in and do edit filters, and now I have two items here. So I can go in and say it should be the customer group that is distribution. So I can go in and use the filters in that way, and now we get a report, but only for that specific type of item. So that's why you have hidden data items, and you can put in as many of them as you want. If you wanted a card code or card name, and add more filters. So now if I have two here, you can also see the additional field here. So it's for doing stuff that should not reflect the data itself, but should still be able to be used for filtering. In the same manner, if we take them away here, we could also have them as measures. So as an example, we can drag, a better example is probably dognum. So let's say this one is just by year right now. So there's an order by here, or sort by, and it's doing it by value. And if I didn't put this measure in, I could only have sorted by value, the one we have, or the dog total, because that's a value in the system by itself. So I could have said, this is the year we sold the most, this is the year we sold the least, and so on. But by dragging it in here, I can also say, in this case, we should probably say count. And now I'm essentially doing sorted by the most amount of invoices in the system. And if I wanted to by the count of customer group, it doesn't really make sense, but when I do that, I get more and more sorting values. So you can basically say measures is for sorting and such things, and the dimensions is for filtering in some capacity. So with that explains what measures and dimensions are in hidden items. Hope it was beneficial, and thank you for attending.